Hello and welcome back to my channel, Michael Barry's Hands of Reiki. My name is Michael Barry. Peace to you. I love you. It's been quite a long time since my last video. As you can see, now I have a lot more hair since growing it in. Um, I've just been quite busy. Over time, there's been times where it popped in my head I should probably do a video, and life kind of got in the way, and I didn't. I've been meaning to do some more healing videos where I'd send healing through the camera to whoever was on the other end, to whoever watched the video. And unfortunately, I never got around to it. But lately, it's I've had something poking at me. Do a video, and the topic of the video kept coming into mind, and it seemed like it was very important that I got the word out about this particular topic. And the topic is past lives. Now, a lot of us were, as we were growing up, were told that reincarnation didn't exist. Me growing up Catholic, I was told the exact same thing, that it was totally impossible, and that we basically were born, we came here, our soul left, and we went on to heaven after we died, or wherever else, wherever our life choices that we made had taken us from there. I believed that because unfortunately I didn't really question much when I was growing up. But as time went on, I really started to question things. In the 90s, I watched a TV show called Sightings, and one of the episodes was on past life regression. And this man that was a journalist didn't really believe in reincarnation, but he did what's called a past life regression, where he was hypnotized to go back through his life into a point where he was going into whatever previous life that he had. And he found by doing this that he had actually lived a past life. And he could see his body, he could see when he came back from the war dead, he could see the dog tags. And then he could see the name on the dog tag. He could see the name, his name was William Max. And he started to do some research and found a picture of William Max, who was in the military, and this was a picture of him with his military buddies, and found that he really did go off to war. Not only that, this man's face, his hairline, and his eyes, you could see like there's a similarity between him and this William Max that he had saw in his past life and was in the picture. He then went on to locate the family of William Max, and he was able to relay information that only William Max would have known, and they didn't know this guy at all. And they could see in his eyes, the eyes are the doorway to the soul, and they knew that that was their friend, their loved one in him, and he became close to them. Then his wife actually, she decided she was going to try doing a past life regression and found that they were actually married in that lifetime. They were husband and wife in the lifetime where he had actually taken off to war. And I was very intrigued by that. So um, down the road, I read some books about past life regression by William Moody, who Dr. Dr. Moody, I think that's his first name. I could be wrong because it's been no Raymond Moody. Raymond Moody is the author of Life After Life. He's the first one to do documentation and write a book on past lives. And he also wrote a book on past life regressions that I did have, and unfortunately, in my just carelessness, somehow lost the book. No, but I delved more and more into past lives, reading about it here and there, and believed it. And it wasn't until I got into doing Reiki that I became more interested in it because my Reiki teacher had told us in one of her classes that she was doing a treatment on somebody with a couple other people and found that they're actually pulling a cannonball out of somebody. And that was the first time that I had ever heard of anybody pulling something like that out. I didn't know that you could pull a bullet out of somebody or pull a knife out of somebody. I just didn't think that that was possible or never even really thought of it. And as time went on, I learned that when we come up, we have scars that like birthmarks, and these birthmarks seem to relate to a wound that we had received in one of our past lives. Maybe out of nowhere in our life, we just all of a sudden we have bronchitis or asthma really bad and never had it our whole life. And I found out that it can, and then the doctors don't know how it happened. They treat it, and it's just something that they just keep on treating and don't really resolve. And find out that that person either like most likely had been in fire or drowned, anything to damage the lungs. They found that some people had actually died in a fire in one of their previous lives, and at the age and the exact same time that that happened is the age that they are now that they started having these symptoms. And it turns out that you can do all the treatment, the doctors can do whatever they want. If it's there on an energetic level and it's from a past life, there's a good chance it's, unless that past life wound is healed back through a past life regression of some kind or through a treatment, through a Reiki treatment, that it's it's just gonna stay there. You have to deal with it for the rest of your life and be medicated or whatever. That was my understanding from talking to other people. Somebody, someone who had done Reiki on me before had seen some of my past lives, and those past lives had linked to what I do now in this life. Never pulled out any wounds, but saw some things that I was back then that I'm actually doing now or have an interest in now. Some people all of a sudden have a gift to play piano very well without taking any lessons. It just comes to them. Had this come from a life that they had lived where they're a musician? It's very well possible. I want to read a passage from this book about past lives, so you can get an understanding of possibly a little bit more of what a past life is. And this book is called Alive Again, Again, and Again: 43 Actual Past Life Regressions and How They Can Help You by Pat Rowe Corring. And this is a chapter called School Earth. And it says, I'm just going to read a little bit from this now. Um, Shakespeare in the play As You Like It said, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. In a sense, with that one passage, Shakespeare summed up the essence of reincarnation. A simplistic view of reincarnation is that it is a philosophy that supports the notion that a soul is on a journey to acquire understanding and wisdom by experiencing many lifetimes in this, our physical world, on this beautiful planet Earth. Sometimes we call the theater in which we play these many roles School Earth. And that's the conclusion that I have come to by talking to many people and reading many books by um, Dr. Brian Weiss, Weiss. And if you go on YouTube, you can find some of his videos doing past life regressions, and he has many really good books. Um, And yes, so we have our soul is eternal. We just keep on coming back and coming back and coming back and learning more and learning more and learning more lessons. We know before we get here the family that we're going to be born into. Sometimes we're born into the same family over and over again, according to what I have read, and the roles are switched. So in one lifetime, uh, your father um, was playing the father role, his soul was playing the father role, and you were playing the child. And then the next time it's reversed, where actually you're the father of that soul, and that soul is your child. Now into past life wounds. I want to get into that now. There's much more literature you can find if you want to learn more about past lives. I just wanted to give you a bit of a breakdown of what I have an understanding of when it comes to past lives. So my experience is from doing a treatment on people and seeing their past lives and pulling out past life wounds. I came across and became friends with somebody who told me that someone that I had been working on regularly had a wound in their left side, and it was most likely a spike of some kind, and that I needed to pull it out during the next treatment, and that when I am going to start my treatment, I should start asking to see the past lives of this person and to be able to remove any past life wounds. So that's what I did. I said it's a certain way so that when at the beginning of the treatment, if it was in the will of God or Creator, that I'd be able to see this and be able to help this person, that I would see it. So the next day when I went to work on that person, I could actually see a vision with my eyes closed. I was working on their right arm. They had had a stroke and the whole right side of their body was paralyzed. And in the vision, she was wearing a gray gown. I don't know what time frame it was, but I know it was long ago. And someone was chasing her, and I could see her fall. And she hit the ground on her right arm, which is the one arm that was paralyzed through the stroke. And I could see the agony in her face, and I could hear the cracking of the bone. And then the vision changed, and she was on top of a cliff, and I was at the bottom of a cliff. There's one on either side. It was like a like a almost like a small mountaintop or whatever. It's anyway the like it was small enough so that I could see the top of where she was at. She was face down. There was somebody on top of her wearing a white baggy shirt, and he had brown hair, long blonde brown hair, and a long brown mustache, and he was on top of her. He was choking her, and I could see it in her eyes that she was dying. And then just all of a sudden, the scene changed and it was gone. And I didn't really know what to make of it, but I just went along with the treatment and kept going. I got over to the other side, to the left side, and my hands were moving and they were just being guided to go into her side and grab onto something, pull out, and I could physically feel something in my hand as my eyes were closed, and I opened my hands and I could see that there's a long spike there, and then it just went poof and it disappeared in it's divine light. And when the treatment was over, this client just looked at me and just went, whoa, wow, wow, just completely blown away by the experience. Um, and stuff like that would happen once in a while when I was working on somebody. I know one person I worked on, I pulled a sword out of their side, and she could actually feel like it's described later as a cord being pulled through her belly button and out her side. I could feel that cord being pulled out. So it got to a point where I would still ask, and I would seal up the spot afterwards where the wound was pulled out of. I was pulling knives out of people at times. Then last year, I discovered that I had a new ability, and I was guided during a treatment on somebody to my hands were actually moving over this girl's throat. I could feel something in my hands, and it felt like this viscous, and I was under the understanding that it was water, and I was pulling the water out of her throat, and I heard in my head that this person drowned, and then I could see this person in my vision, with my eyes closed, in a big body of water, and they were drowning, and I was told to go out and get them and bring them back in. So I was somehow able to will myself to be able to jump into the scene, swim out, grab this person, drag her back to shore, and then do mouth to mouth. And then all of a sudden she sat up and went like that, and I could see the water come out, and I knew life was back into her. And I went on with the treatment. Some other past life stuff started coming up, and but when the treatment was done, and I told her that the treatment was completed, and she sat up. She sat up and held her throat the exact same way that she did in the vision. I was like, whoa. She goes, whoa, my throat feels better. I was having some problems with it, and it was like all cloggy for a very long time, and I couldn't get rid of it, and now it's gone. And I told her what I saw during the treatment and what I did. And the next day or two later, I reached out via text to get an update on how this person was feeling. And I was told that, and I don't know how old this person's daughters were, but her daughters that night had a dream. Well, when they came to her separately, it told her, one said that her mom had died drowning in a tsunami in her dream, and the other girl told her that she had seen her mom die in a difficult childbirth, which is something else that she had seen while I was working with her. And as time went on, this started to happen more and more, where I would be able to insert myself in. Somebody was in a vehicle, and the vehicle was going towards a tree head on. I was able to, in my mind, back up the scene, and as the scene went into reverse, and then I let it go and it started going into forward, then I went in and I would jump in and take this person out and pull him out to safety before the car crashed into a tree or before it went over a cliff. Um, I've been able to not only pull out wounds of people, but I was also able to start seeing who it was that killed them. And then I was able to reverse some scenes where I was able to actually get this person to safety before this person was able to actually kill them. And the understanding that I got in my mind as I've been asking what I'm doing and how this is working is that during that person's lifetime of what it is, of wherever it is that they are that I'm seeing, I am preventing whatever ailment from hitting them. So that this does, if there's something that it would have surfaced sometime in this lifetime or maybe in one of their other lifetimes, I've actually been able to stop that from happening. And I found that very fascinating. Recently, my son and I worked on my dad, and before that, for many years, he would be walking just from the washroom to the kitchen, just like sounding like he's run a marathon. And I attributed this to other health issues that he had from long ago. And when I was working on him, I could actually see him in a fire in a vision. And so I went in and I grabbed him and pulled him to safety. And then in another scene, I saw him in a fire again, but this time he was a fireman. And he was fighting a fire. And a beam came down and it crashed on his back and hit him and knocked him down. And this time I reversed the scene to before that beam came down from the ceiling, and I ran in and I grabbed him out, put him over my shoulders, and brought him out to safety. And the beam came crashing down and did not hit him. When he woke up after the treatment, his breathing was a lot better. Still, his breathing was like at times, but that that I just ran a marathon or whatever sound that his lungs would make has stopped ever since, and that was like a few weeks ago. So that is one of the abilities, another amazing ability that I've been able to tap into. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is I want people to know this, to know that this is possible, that what some of the wounds that you are suffering now that have come out of nowhere, that not only there is a chance that I very well could help during a treatment, but it could actually help also to prevent something from happening down in the future and future pain that may have surfaced and now it won't surface because I've gone in there and done that. And like I've said during the treatment, this isn't something that I can say, okay, I guarantee you 100% that when I work on you, I'm going to pull something out. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. No, I ask for help to see if there is something that needs to be healed, that it comes from a past life, and to be able to pull whatever wound that they may have out and to seal it up after the energetic seal. So if they have been stabbed in the stomach, then I would energetically be able to pull that out and then not only pull that out, but put my hands in place and be able to seal energetically up that area. Because if it's left, then it's going to leave it's going to leave an opening. And sometimes if you have etheric openings like that, then you can bite anything in. You can have all kinds of problems. So it's very important that I seal up the area afterwards. Another thing that I wanted to impress upon is the fact that not only that that will happen if it's meant to, then I can also get in the scene if I'm meant to do it. So um, it doesn't always happen, but it's been happening a lot more frequently where I've seen somebody in a vat of green liquid and I've actually gone in and I put myself where I was able to jump up onto the edge of the vat with my chest over the vat and grab onto this person with all my might, yank them out and fall to the ground, and then be able to heal that wound. And energetically, when I was working on this person, I was pulling stuff like dark green liquidy stuff out of them, and I was told afterwards that they can actually feel something being pulled out of them. So if you want to learn more about past lives, I recommend looking up Dr. Brian Weiss, and you can actually, if you want to find some really cool videos about children experiencing past lives, then you can do a search on YouTube, children reincarnation, and there's many videos out there where people doing news reports or journalistic reports interview kids. One believed that he was in a war and that his name was James, and his present name was James. And this boy, James, he would have these night terrors of family found that he was having night terrors of being in a war, he would draw these horrible pictures that depicted war. You had these GI Joe dolls that all had a specific name, and um, he had a very keen knowledge of old war planes and the bombing hatch, and knew the names of all of these parts of it. And his parents didn't know how, and he found out that he was this person named James, and he gave his parents the details and told them exactly where it was that his plane went down. And as a child, he went and met this James's family and told the sister the pet name that he had given her that only James would have known, that little boy would possibly have known it. And the person who ran the battalion, he said that by the way that this young boy was talking, he knew in his heart that that was him. And they took the boy out in the water to the location of where he said his plane went down. He threw a wreath out and he shed a few tears, and then his night terrors stopped. So that's all I have right now on past lives. I'm just going from the heart here, telling you what my experience is through Reiki and how I'll be able to heal any of your past life wounds that you may have that could be causing certain problems that you're experiencing today. And feel free to reach out to me by making a comment on my video. Reach out to me through Messenger, Michael Barry's Hands of Reiki on my Facebook page if you're interested in the treatment and exploring what I can do. And also, I want you to just know that I will be doing another video soon where I'm doing some healing work for a specific ailment. So more videos ahead. Life does get in the way, and I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on right now. I'm working on learning how to become a grief facilitator for a grief group. So I got my hands on a lot of things right now, so I am quite busy, but I'm going to try to make some extra time to do some videos, do more healing videos. Actually, I find videos like this where I'm sitting here talking to be a little bit more difficult than just sitting there and sending energy. But kind of nerve wracking, but there you have it. So with this, I wish you all very well, and I thank you for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you. Sending lots of love.